joining us. This is something that's that the IMAA leadership team and board is very, very passionate about. Before we go any further, in the spirit of reconciliation, the IMAA acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and the connections to the land, sea and community. We pay respect to their leaders past, present and emerging, and also extend respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islands peoples today. So thank you for joining us. We've got some wonderful talkers today. Steve Fagan and myself from the IMAA. Steve leads the working group and obviously based in Melbourne and part of runs Media Republic. And then coming in from the Northern Territory, we've got Alastair, Tyson and Paul, and they will take over the second half of the presentation. Where do we start with this, guys? So today we have the opportunity of doing something really quite special. It's an opportunity for all of us to be part of reconciliation. Now, reconciliation, you know, a journey that the IMAA has been on for probably the last 5 to 6 months. It's a really, really hard thing to navigate. It's challenging. It's confronting at times, and it's hard to kind of build a plan in a smaller agency. So what we've done today is launching a plan that everyone can kind of be part of. And share the journey with us. So what are we doing? There's a few things we're doing. Firstly, we've got an opportunity to make our industry a better place than what we found it, and that is something that drives myself and Beck and Steve every day. What are we doing about this? We're launching a reconciliation charter, which we've got 38 agencies to be a part of. We're providing a resource hub for you guys, and also implementing the Make a Difference program with Mpetyane as well. We've also set some goals and some meaningful ways that we can support First Nation people, and then we're also going to discuss some of the benefits. Our reconciliation goals is respect. As part of our RAP, we're going to be paying tribute and respecting the First Nation people. We're educating all of us as we're on this journey together. And then finally, tangible action. So this is something that we can all be part of, and we'll talk about this at the second part of the presentation. But first, I'd like to call out Beck Colson, who's done a wonderful job with the Reflect plan, working with Reconciliation Australia. There's 3 key elements to this, and this is, you know, by far one of the hardest and most challenging things for any business to do, depending on how big you are. There's 3 components of it. It's education, that's enabling and empowering and educating our members to be part of their own journey. Influencing, so that's, you know, providing learning opportunities, guidance with our media partners to be part of this program, and gives a greater understanding to it. And then finally, you know, on the ground projects that we can support. So this is tangible, meaningful things that we can see that the IMAA can do. So as a sector of the media industry and as part of the IMAA, we can actually do something that's going to impact people's lives, which is really quite exciting. The Reconciliation Charter, which we have communicated but probably haven't spoken about as loudly as we could, is something we sent out probably about two months ago. What it is, it's a way that you can kind of hop on our RAP, on our reconciliation plan. So it just shows, you know, efforts that you're supporting, you're participating in events where possible, you're educating yourself and your staff about First Nation issues, and obviously we'll be giving you a badge later on to say that you're part of the IMAA Reconciliation Charter badge. So far to date, we've got 38 agencies, 38 fine IMAA agencies who are part of this. We would love to have 100%. So there will be an email going out about this for everyone to say, if you want to be a part of it, you know, this is all you have to need to do. Just acknowledge it. There's nothing, you know, tremendously challenging in there. It's just a sign of respect. The second part of what we're doing is the Education Hub. So this is a dedicated resource that we'll have on our website. We've got quite a few things that are being built on the IMAA website now, but the Reconciliation Hub is a way and a resource for your agency to find different things. So for example, we'll be having a tab on there, or a little component for First Nation Directory, Supply Nation Directory. This will allow you, for example, if you're going to order your Xerox paper, so I don't know if that's a thing anymore, but you can do it through a First Nation business opposed to Officeworks. If you want to get some catering, you can do it through a First Nation, but you want to find another agency or a production agency, you can do it through a First Nation one as well. So that's just finding and supporting business. Training opportunities, so we're working with a number of companies such as SBS on discounts of their training, even possibly extensive discounts off their training. And they've got some wonderful training for understanding the First Nation challenge. And then Make a Difference program. And this is a real impact in people's lives that we'll talk to in the second half. But the Make a Difference program is a way of us contributing and taking a project, which we will be visiting later on in April and launching it out there. And we'll talk about it later on, sure. And then the final component is government funding and how to find links to government funding and resources. The Make a Difference program. Folks, is this you now?
I think it is, Sam. So thanks for handing over. In conjunction, and I want to introduce Al, Paul, and Tyson again. That they're going to bring to life and talk through this Make a Difference program very shortly. But in conjunction with Mpetyane, and we've been having some conversations for the last couple of months, we're working through developing a program specifically targeted at assisting and supporting Aboriginal youth within the local communities up on the land through regional South Australia and NT there. So it's really a way for the IMAA and the 38 of us agencies that have already signed and hopefully more to make a real impact on this local community initiative. So Sam, I think we've got a video which will encapsulate it, and Paul is the star here. So if you can press play, this will bring everything to life.
People don't understand the difficulties of living in remote communities like we do. And all too often, we see businesses just like yours trying to do the right thing, but not always seeing anything tangible in return. Wada, my name is Paul Archie. I'm a local Aranda person here in Alice Springs, Mpetyane, and today I'd like to talk to you about Mpetyane Television and how investing advertising dollars with them can help you. Based in Alice Springs, Mpetyane has a shareholder interest from Maralinga in South Australia through to the Tiwis in the top end. We live and breathe the needs, wants and desires of remote Australia. And we're a not-for-profit 100% Aboriginal-owned business that broadcasts through one of the biggest footprints in the world, through 6 states and territories, an area of 3.6 million square kilometres. We also provide digital infill via satellite for all areas east of the West Australian border. We have a huge social platform. Our Aboriginal shareholders have never taken a dividend from the business, and we also uplink 14 Aboriginal radio stations to the vast satellite for distribution. The ability to assist with Indigenous community radio stations has a significantly positive result on country when so many services are severely reduced. As part of this program, we will be accepting advertising sponsorship for Walpri Media, PY Media, Tiva, Karma and 3KND, all community-based Indigenous radio stations, who will also commit to the 10% isolation of advertising funds, just through corporate Australia buying airtime on these stations. You will make a significant difference to the communication status on remote communities and to Aboriginal people around Australia. We've always taken the stance that Indigenous Australia needs a voice and have held to the belief through very tough and challenging times. The reconciliation, acknowledgement and support of Indigenous Australia is a big concern of ours, and we hope it is for you too. The question is what to do and how to do it. The Mpetyane Make a Difference program. Inspired by the recent move to market by SBS and ITV, seeking 3% of advertising funds to be reallocated to Indigenous media, Mpetyane Make a Difference program will have a twofold effect. When you invest with us, you will help us grow Aboriginal media and make a difference to those in remote Aboriginal communities who really need it long after the campaign is over. What makes this program distinct from any other is that you will not only empower the media itself, but we will also find a number of specific projects that will be funded through your advertising spend on Mpetyane. We will isolate 10% of your advertising spend and put it towards your project or joint project depending on size and cost. We will not increase rates, but hope you see the benefits in increasing share and bring new clients to the market. In consultation with the communities themselves, a concept which hasn't occurred for the past 50 years, we will find the best projects to pursue and you and your clients will take it on and own it, making a tangible difference regarding their lifestyle and welfare, remembering some of these communities are thousands of kilometres from many facilities we take for granted. It may be a renal lifter for a clinic, a concreted area with a shade room where kids can play ball sports, or an irrigated grass football field, funding a sports coordinator in a community, books for a library or painting a wall in a children's ward in the local hospital should they need care outside their community. We may be able to gain approval to host visitors to the community, to see firsthand what you are doing and how it is affecting the overall standard of the community. We believe this will underpin future opportunity and allow for expansion of the IMAA Make a Difference program. Spending beyond the 3% is a choice that can have a real, measurable impact in the lives of thousands of Aboriginal people. We are here to facilitate the process. With your help, a more reconciled Australia is a possibility.
Stop it, Vic.
So, hand over to Al here.
Okay.
Alistair
Hi,
Penn,
guys.
CEO of IMAA TV.
Hi guys, how are you? By way of background, I'm an ex-Sydney boy who came out here for 3 years, 19 years ago, just never bothered to go back. This is an extraordinary part of the country. It's where there's extraordinary challenges, at the same time it has extraordinary opportunities. When SBS and NITV came out with their 3%, we sort of sat down and thought, well, that's great. Where's the money going? You know, like, well, probably ends up back with government. And we thought, well, hold on, we should be doing something that actually delivers something to the ground. And not something that we needed to control, but something that I suppose that you could own on the East Coast. Give you a project that you actually own, it becomes yours. Something that's measurable, something that we feel is needed or required, or something community feels is needed and required. So look, to that end, you know, we've moved forward. I suppose I'll give you the worst of it, and you know, I was astounded, and I still am, that you know, 3 o'clock in the morning in a place like Alice Springs, we can have 5 and 6 year old kids out wandering the streets in gangs with older kids, and the reason they're out there is because they're safer out there than they may be in their own homes. Now, there are issues, there are youth issues, there is a number of issues, a number of cultural issues. So to those sorts of things, we sit down and we go, okay, so how do you address these? I mean, there's no quick fix, so there's no band-aids. We don't want to put a band-aid on these things. We actually need to attempt to change it. Look, we are a small, very small station. We're a 9 affiliate, so we carry all the 9 programming base. We exist. 9 are very good to us, I should say too. I'll just so you understand that 9 have been very supportive of this organisation and have been for a long time. As we say, we've got a huge area that we cover. So 6 million or 3.6 million square k's, 6 states and territories. All the digital infill for everything east of the WA border. So we're into metro cities. If you're on the northern beaches of Sydney and Cars Creek Road, you get us flying fast. So look, it's a really interesting place to be. I mean, it's probably the most expensive broadcast footprint in Australia because we've got to deliver via satellite. We've got 28 retransmission sites, so we have to service all of those. So it's a tough one, but it's our core. Our core is through Remote Australia. And that's an area that we call the last 3%. It's the area that people forget about. So governments forget about it in terms of when they do, I suppose when we talk about television transmission, things like that, it tends to be forgotten. And the people in it tend to be forgotten. And unfortunately, they are probably some of the people living in the most remote locations in the country. So I suppose today we're going to sit and talk to you about this and say, look, here's an opportunity and we'd really love you to come on board and support it. By way of something that we feel is really important, and I'll let Paul and Tyson talk to this, is we've sat down and we thought, okay, so for your group, what is it that we would highly recommend to you guys that you do? And it's about youth, and it's about making a difference in the space. And we're very lucky in as much as Tyson is here, and he has a program that we believe we've got a lot of faith in terms of the way it can evolve and the way it can develop and what it can actually deliver. So Tyson and Jesse's wife Jessica have worked really hard on creating this and bringing it to fruition. Paul is obviously does some work with Mpetyane, and Paul's a wonderful advisor for us as a business in terms of a lot of the cultural aspects that we need to deal with. So look, I'll pass over to these guys, and these guys can have a chat and tell you about where this may lead and what it may be.
Yeah, I'll just start off. Hi, it's Paul, and then I'll hand over to Tyson, and just if you might want to chip in too, feel free. So the Make a Difference program is very much what we are embarking upon, and certainly with the assistance and help with partners like yourselves, I think is critical to that. So really, I've just written a couple of things down here that I'd probably like to say is that, whatever contribution that you make or are delivering, it's only a contribution to a broader solution. So in reality, it's not a silver bullet, but it is an actual real opportunity to sort of target a particular area. And I'll let Tyson talk more about, and Jessica talk more about their concept or their product. But within that, I think there's an opportunity for collaboration with existing services to value add and ensure a greater and more improved measurable outcomes that I think we're all driving towards doing. And they can be measured in a lot of different ways. But I think what we need to do is just actually have some program where we can actually funnel some youth through, and not to reinvent the wheel, but to actually value add what's already out there and see how we can collaborate with already existing services. So, and using a vehicle like King's Narrative, and I'll segue into Jessica and Tyson, is that, it's up and running, it's on country, it's esteemed in culture, but also nurturing, understanding, and having someone like Tyson and Jessica running it. Tyson's had a lot of background in youth, and is a local R&D man on country, and it's got a really solid heart and soul, but it's also got a strong business sense, and that's backed up with Jessica. So hand it over to you, mate.
Thank you very much, Paul. Good morning, everybody. I guess it might be afternoon where you are, I'm not too sure. But thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this meeting and to meet you guys and to be introduced to this Make a Difference program. I think looks watching that video and hearing you talk about what you're talking about is exciting from my point of view, and I think just great to be here. So my name is Tyson, Mpetyane, Carmody, and I come from Alice Springs. I grew up here, and just late last year, my partner and I have launched a business, King's Narrative, which is centered around narrative therapy practices and counselling and doing group sessions with Aboriginal men, unpacking trauma, but centered around that, that is all centered around culture and how important making that clear and direct link between culture and how that is critical to our mental health, our social emotional well-being, and the health of the community around. So it's I've been working in this area for a while and working in schools, working in different settings, and seeing the importance that men are crying out and seeking help or wanting to seek help, but there are no Aboriginal men that they can talk to unpack a lot of the stuff, to who they feel connected to. There are services around town, but all of the people in those positions are not Aboriginal men. To be able to culturally support those people in the way that they need to be supported, to understand what they're going through, why they're going through that, and to navigate a way through that properly. And so it's been a dream of mine to start this business since 2007, and I've worked in different areas building myself up to get to this point. And you know, it's taken a lot of hard work and a lot of sacrifice, but it's something that I'm very passionate about, and my vision for it is for change to happen in the next generation, 20, 25, 30 years down the track, because that's when we're going to see the change that we want to see happening. And I want to be a part of that change. And my partner Jess and I, we're keen to you know, potentially work with you guys and partner, and because we've literally started this business with no capital, and we just want to, it's only myself, and so we're limited by our resources and where we can and can't go. But look, our mission is to really build this, to make this a spread to as many men as possible, and also connecting with other communities as well, so that we're upskilling men, and men are learning how to navigate and understand what the issues they're facing and why, and where it all comes from. And you know, in this country, it all comes from colonisation. And these steps that you guys are taking, these RAP plans and all that sort of stuff, is really, really important to be able to make that step forward, to be able to address and make that change at that level and filter it down into where we are, in the grassroots. So it's really, honestly, really exciting to see hear what you're talking about. So,
Do you want to touch on the fact that you're also leading the women's? Yes.
Yeah.
I think just to give a bit more of a picture of what's happening since Tyson's launched King's Narrative. At the moment, and actually for a little while now, Alice Springs has been dealing with a really high crime rate. We've been dealing with more and more young people out on the streets, higher incarceration rates, higher homelessness. We've got a food crisis happening as well. There's so many things contributing to what we're seeing here in town and in the remote communities. Tyson's experience working with young people in different settings like schools and youth centres and in Clontarf, he's done leadership roles, he's working with Children's Ground as well. Culture has always been what's missing. Strong culture and reconnecting our young people back to their youth, back to their culture and back to their story and back to their homelands has always been a challenge for a lot of the organisations, but there's always been a lot of red tape as well. A program like King's Narrative has been in high demand for a long time. We launched in December, and Tyson was hoping to transition from his job, you know, over 6 to 12 months to go from working part-time and then full-time in his business. But Tyson's ready to go full-time next week because we were just bombarded with referrals, bombarded with contracts and people just really needing this for our young people. But like he said, his capacity is restricted by his resources, and starting an Aboriginal business as an Aboriginal man with 5 sons, it made it really difficult. So just being able to make sure we've got facilities for young people and young people with disabilities has been a challenge. Making sure that we've got a vehicle with wheelchair access has been a challenge. So, you know, that's the sort of support that King's Narrative needs at the moment, and the impact that King's Narrative is going to have on our young people. You know, we're going to see that impact for years and years to come, and that is going to be intergenerational change, especially for our community.
And so there are a number of different programs that we offer. There are 6-week programs for young men and older men. There are cultural reconnection camps, 2-night camps out on country, and then there are also cultural immersion leadership camps, which those programs, the cultural leadership and immersion programs, are open to everybody, so male, female, in Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal people. But all of the other programs that I'll be doing in the one-on-one counselling is targeted to our young men, particularly because they're the ones who are in the jails, and so our high rates of incarceration for our young men particularly, through the roof, and the women as well. But in this town in particular, in the youth detention centre, I just went there last week, it's just all male in there. There's no female detainees. They don't have a lot of capacity at the moment. They do a lot of rebuilding and stuff, but like it's just all men, all young men in there, and so that's where the work is needed. And then when we address that stuff, all of it will filter out to our family, to the rest of the community. But yeah, so there's capacity to work with everybody, but the primary focus is working with the men when we're doing the trauma-informed work around unpacking trauma and why, and moving forward and navigating our way through that.
Okay. Folks, I'm just going to jump back in here and just explain. So how this works is all that's going to happen is you'll be given a contact point, which is Chris Williams, and some of you may know Chris. Chris was at WIN. We worked together 7 years ago. He was at WIN, and then I've had him up here for a while. And so if you book direct with him, so if you've got media bookings, you give them to him. What we do is we'll take that booking and we'll give it a special code. And so, if it's a $10,000 booking, we will just put $1,000 straight into your dedicated bank account. Now, your bank account will have access by probably Sam and one other from your organisation, so you guys can actually see it. The way the bank accounts are set up, so if we want to pass money to Tyson, or you guys say, okay, we're going to send money to Tyson or to that program, you tell us what you want, we set it up, but you guys actually approve it being sent through. So you've got access to your bank account. It doesn't make any difference to your advertising. What you book is what you get. And as I say, we just apply a 10% discount to it. So we'll make sure that first of all, one of the things that we will do is we will over-deliver, I promise you that. Whatever you book with us, it works for us to have you in our market. It works for us to have your revenue on the station. So whatever we can do to make you and your clients successful, we will do that on the way through. So look, we're sort of standing on the edge of it. Just to understand too. So we're a not-for-profit organisation. We hold a commercial television licence, but we're actually not-for-profit. So we put millions of dollars back into, and really not through cash components these days, because the market's sort of, we got hit really hard during the virus, and that's put us on our arse a little bit, to be honest. But anyway, we're getting back over it now. But anything we can do to move forward and help you guys, as I say, bring clients into the market, just let us know. We'll bend whatever we need to bend to make sure that it happens, and it happens well. So, Steve, is there anything else I need to touch on there?
No, I think you've covered it all perfectly there, Al. Thank you. And special thanks to Tyson and Jesse and Paul for just enlightening us. The goosebumps are certainly on my shoulders and arms down here in Melbourne, sort of listening to the story and the challenges that you guys are facing up there in Alice and in the community. So as Sam said up front, this is a journey. It's not about ticking a box and job is done. It's one that I think our eyes are now wide open to, and as part of this journey, and what we've set up with through the IMAA is an actionable reconciliation commitment, and it's for those of you who are tendering or going through a process with larger companies that are asking about RAP plans. You can now sort of confidently say that you are working through a RAP plan. And as part of that, you can become an employer of choice. We are making or we are proposing to make a real meaningful difference through this Make a Difference program. We are creating a badge, and we're working with an Indigenous a creative agency to create IMAA collateral and some stories around that. so that that's a work in progress. And at the end of the day, as a sector, we've now got 100+ agencies. We can stand tall and as our own community really sort of push out our shared values there. So we're really encouraging you when you're talking to your agency peers who haven't yet signed. Please do encourage them. Thanks, Sam.
Sam, just can I just say one other thing, guys? If it's one of those things too that you have an inkling or a passion or a thirst to actually understand this a little better, Tyson does run programs that you can sit in on as a corporate, and it might be a wonderful opportunity for the group to come and learn and actually have a look and see what it is you are funding and what are the results that those kids are going to get out of this, because you'll learn a fair bit of that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And we'd love to have and host you and to meet you in person and to take you out into my homelands and so you can see and feel what it is we do and why. But I was also just going to say quickly, you can check out our website, kingsnarrative.com.au, and on there there's a lot of information about what we do. There's also a video that we prepared for the launch of the business to sort of really showcase and highlight why it is I started Kings Narrative. So please feel free to have a look at that, and we'd definitely love to meet you in person and host you and take you out to my country for a couple of nights and sleep under the stars.
Yeah, sounds excellent. I reckon you might get a few takers there, Tyson, in the next couple of months. And just to wrap up, we've said we're on a journey. It's about respect. We continually need to be educated, and today I think is a step in the right direction in our understanding of the challenges and the ability to take real action out there. So those of you who haven't, will be sending out the paperwork to sign up to the IMAA Reconciliation Charter. We're launching a hub as a resource, as Sam touched on just before. And we're really encouraging you to, where possible and where it's relevant, for your clients to spend on Mpetyane. I really want to make a shout out to, I think he's on the call today, Andrew Catchlove through Loop Media. He said through a buy earlier this week, which when we're speaking with Chris Williams on Wednesday, he was in the process of making the response to the buy. So there's some new money coming into market there. So shout out to Andrew. So thank you for your time today. Sam, I'll hand over to you. You're on mute, mate.
Sorry, mate. Thanks, guys. I think just to echo Fate's words, the charter is not exclusively tied into the program as well. You can still be part of that. I think we might just also open up to questions if anyone has any or wants to ask anything whilst we have the guys here.
Sam, I think there was one question we raised, which was earlier in the piece where if you don't have a client that can spend on Mpetyane, but you wanted to make a donation to the Make a Difference program, that you could actually do that. Yeah, that's true. You can make a donation directly. You can be part of the charter, and there's ways that we can make it work. We just basically want to get everyone on board and on the journey. I think that as I said at the start, like, it's on us guys to make our industry a better place and to do the best we can to and leave it a better place than what we found it. So that's what keeps us moving. We can also pass on any questions to the guys and get anything answered, which we will do. We'll send out the paperwork or the charter and additional information, also Tyson's video. We'll send that out as well later on today. So if there's no further questions, we'll say thank you to our guests and thank you for being part of it. And thank you, Fags and Beck, for all the work that you've put in on this as well. It's been quite a journey, and not necessarily an easy journey. It's been quite a journey, and to get it to a point that we're launching it today, it's been really, really inspiring. So thank you so much for all your hard work. Thank you guys for tuning in.
and we'll talk to everyone soon. If anyone's got any questions, just reach out. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.